listen, I'm really sorry for what we're all going through. I'm not going to make this another call to action video. We really are all going through a lot, and because there's no set plan for any of us, it's really hard. Most of all, it's really hard on our community because if there's no school, there's no therapy. There's no home visits, there's no therapies, etc., etc. I'm really glad that we have this opportunity. I was already set up for online. I'm still working out the kinks sometimes, like with this Facebook Live. I think this is just our 7th one, but I really want to take this opportunity to say thank you for joining us, and also please realize, please, right now, if you're in the Facebook group, and this is why we have it there, if you look on your upper corner, if you're new here, there's a little segment called units. I've got 23, I think, units right now, from vision to rolling over to spine rotation, breathing. If you don't see the unit, make a suggestion of what you need. Helping your child is about helping your child with movement, right? I don't work with diagnoses. Now I'm going to do this Facebook Live a little bit differently because I'm going to be actually describing the child, because I think we have 8 or 9 kids that we're going to review right now. So I am going to put out a little bit of description. I've also tagged the parents, the videos right below in the comments. So if those of you really need to go and look, but honestly, the group isn't that big. Go back to the last 5, 8 comments or sections that we've gone on, and you'll see the videos that I am reviewing. But again, we just offered the breathing course. It's just about done in Spanish as well. We're doing movement lessons in Spanish. We're really trying to up our game. We're not taking any time off. We're upping our game really to give you a more substantial online community. There are people, even despite the virus, that just can't jump on a plane. Your child has a condition. You have 6 kids. It's money. There's a lot of reasons why we can't always get the things that we need that are particular to help our child. I'm trying to offer whatever I can with Movement Lesson to do all that, to make sure that you guys have the success you needed. That's why Movement Lessons for parents and practitioners. I believe, because I'm a parent, that you have a right to help your child. However, there are many professionals out there that are available to help you. We were just about to graduate a whole class out, and I really, again, the empathy that I have for all of us here, I really want to go forward with that. So I want to start off with Krista. We actually have 2 munchkins this week with SMA. SMA is a genetic condition that affects the muscles. There's type 1. It used to be that type 1, the child would not make it to the age of 2. There's now, for the past couple of years, a very successful drug called Spinraza that halts progression of SMA. And I cannot remember the name of the new drug, which I'm sure someone will ping me to correct me, which is a one-time access, again, to halt the progression of SMA. What people don't realize with SMA, what happens... Oh, Felipe, sorry, can you get my button toy? Sorry, guys. So what happens with SMA and a lot of muscular dystrophies or lactic acid disorders, what happens is the rotation goes in the muscles. One of the reasons why Movement Lesson is so big about rotation is because I believe, just like if your organ fails, your heart, your liver, whatever, you better have a third person there that knows how to start your heart, because you cannot restart your own heart. Well, it's the same thing with interior muscular function. It's part of the reasons why we're doing the lasers and so forth, to those people that need that kind of movement, right? So you need to go literally with SMA, with that light rotational touch, I'm telling you, through the entire body at all times. Just because you're getting the Spinraza or the other drugs that halts progression, that doesn't mean your body now says, oh, I know how to move. And this is what's very frustrating with SMA. However, if you know the key on working with SMA, this is what you're going to go after, right? So when you're working with SMA, a lot of people will tell you you have to get stronger. Thank you very much for winding this up. So this is my button toy, right? This is one, and if you're really interested, I have a paper on it, right? This is how a muscle functions, right? It's an old-fashioned toy of a button on a string. But when I go to reach for something, right, that's what a muscle is meant to do. It has that motion that creates power, right? When the rotation stops, what happens? And it's very hard. Or let's say for CP, this is where we're at, and that rotation can't get started either. Muscles need to go from a passive to active phase. So I'm getting a little bit carried away here. When you have AFOs on, I'm telling you right now, am I set up for this if I go over? Can you see me in the camera? Sorry. If I'm going over like this, and I've got AFOs on, or my legs are straight, again, let me tell you guys, this is probably the hardest way possible, and you can all try it, to get up. Right? And another thing you need to work on with a rotational touch is, again, now the compression. Right? I'm about to upgrade a bit on the subscription site, and one of the things I'm going to be talking about is a hanging technique that I use. But this is the biggest problem too with SMA, because again, I would have more buoyancy to do these kind of moves where my spine can go up and down. Again, the spinal, your skeletal movements need to have passive and active, as well as your muscles, right? This is, again, one of the things you're getting out of movement lesson. So really to go in there with that gentle rotational touch, right? And just understanding where movement comes from. I'm not saying don't do the AFOs in this case. I want to save the feet. But I'm telling you right now, if you're going to use them in that kind of positioning and condition, it's got to be the hardest way of getting up. One of the best ways of getting up, now if I don't have my AFOs on, is I'm lying down and I come here. I need very little muscle, even hands, right, to sit there and roll up. But again, and again, when you're pretending you have AFOs on, I want that 90 degree. This is, and here, again, it's a bench press, and that's not how we move. So really is look at every movement, every milestone has rotation, and that's what I want you to start working with, especially through that shoulder. So Krista, you got a good review. Sorry. Elise. Sorry. I don't know who I'm talking to. Okay, sorry. Elise, hi. First of all, we really need to work on the vision. I think that could be possibly where also you're complaining of increased banging. No child self-harms. It is a fallacy of autism, Rett's, all of those kind of things. Usually when you see those kind of things going on, it's pain-based of some sort, or uncomfortable base of this kind of thing. It's like they have a headache and they really want to knock it out of them. She can't go into those movements because she's constrained that way, so she doesn't do any kind of self-harm, which these kids can get pretty strong with that. If you look, her vision, this is more how she's seeing. Now notice right now, I cannot see you whatsoever, right? So one of the things is her acuity might be fine, but the pressure in the eyes might be a bit too much, but the alignment is rough for her. And so really discuss a possible visual program, a patching program, because you're not seeing that directional side to side. But really she can have ocular migraines, ocular headaches here in the frontal, and go after that. I mentioned also the PANDAS as a primary immune deficiency disorder that works on that can affect more of the ticking. My son was diagnosed with autism. They never looked to see that he had Haemophilus influenza. They never looked to see what the vision was going on. Like the autism diagnosis just stopped him in his tracks. Every excuse for everything that he did. Oh, it's the autism. And so sometimes you have to really look outside the box. Just because your child's special needs, I used to say, autism, sick guys, totally different. And I'm not saying she's sick, but I have a feeling, right, that there's some kind of pressure, even with the side of her head, something even as a pseudo-tumor to look at. And I'll take the next one. So Caroline. Hi, Caroline. I'm so glad you're doing the training. I know you guys hear it all the time. Really, vision, I don't know what's going on with this visual diagnosis. When you're here, right, if you notice, and I've just done a screen print as well so we can send it to you. If I'm here, this is my convergence. See where my eyes are at? His convergence is literally here, right? So I'm bringing my eyes in a little bit more. Okay, there's a problem too because the head's hanging back, even though he's got milestones. Head's coming more here. Gosh, that's just so hard to do. And now the alignment is off just slightly. So this is the sight that you're getting when he's looking to focus. Now he might still bring it out and focus, but this is where he's at. You can tell too by the movements, the tunnel vision and all of that kind of stuff. I know you're looking for eye contact, but let me tell you, to be able to sweep my eyes across midline to look for my mother is completely different than finding where my eyes need to go and bring them up around and trying. And that's where also too you see that shakiness. So the vision really needs to be worked on with that. Also because of that, that's creating the alignment issues. So his movements are the synchronization of the movements are off, which then is causing momentum issues. So he's putting a little bit more effort here, you know what I mean, where the spine that you're seeing that kind of stuff. And so I just think with the tunnel vision, it just keeps him more stable. And so that's where I would go after with the spine work. Hi, Anna. You only sent a video of the spine, and I'm going to cover the spine. Again, this is a little munchkin with SMA. If you missed it, go back to Krista's. We reviewed what SMA is. What happens with SMA, and again, people don't realize, and you're going to get a back shot from me, is when a child is moving and so forth, there's a buoyancy factor that needs to happen, right? Our spines grow. So when I go into all fours, right? When I go into all fours, our spine needs to grow and present. This is why a lot of people complain my child doesn't have proprioceptive reflexes. No, it's a grow that happens, right? Not whoa kind of thing. So with SMA, you do have what's considered the collapse of the spine, right? But that's what's happening, not scoliosis. If it's not prevented, it will start getting habitual and what you see as the curvature of the spine. So the movements that need to take place is just getting up underneath that spine, And again, I'm going to upgrade my, or I shouldn't say upgrade, add to my subscription site. And we're going to do a couple of videos on this of a hanging technique that I like to use, particularly with SMA, to allow that, again, the way I was just coming around here, my spine comes up and that's what gives me my spin, right? All of that. It's not really muscle based, all of this. It's all about just using skeletal buoyancy. And so that's what really needs to be worked on, especially in the hyoid, clavicles, all of those kind of things. Again, where I can come up and over. Look at how I can rise here, where again, that's where you're getting, and it's much harder to move, and that's where I would go first. Okay, we're getting into the babies. So let's do, excuse me if I'm not getting the names right today. Mullik Lakshmi always gets me. I think I'm getting much better. But anyway, we're going to go with Kwai. So, one of the problems with munchkins when they start having problems is what I like to say is they have a very heavy head. What people don't realize, I'm going to get on the table for this, Felipe, sorry. So when I'm learning my milestones, right? I'm sitting here and just being a baby. If my left foot goes out, my right foot, all of this gets coordinated. It's a pre-crawl. I do it on tummy time as well, and that's where we're covering also with the tummy time. So if I'm here and I go here, see how it counters. You'll never see a baby with one leg long and they're over like this trying to move, right? But that's what you're seeing with your son. The spine is not crossing midline, and therefore also the head is way too heavy. So if you can see with him crawling, it's much more, excuse me, I'm just using visualizations, but we call it like a lizard crawl. So he's here and here, right? And that's why he's not coming up to all fours. That spine has to cross midline. Spine has to cross midline to get out of it. All of that happens, right? When they're doing all of these movements, right, the spine is crossing midline. What happens is my head and pelvis synchronize, right? What's happening is, because he's not crossing midline, that head is really heavy, right? And you'll always see that with the munchkins that I'm about to be talking about, the babies. That head is so heavy, and also you'll see a pretty good arch. Because again, if I'm not crossing midline, I have to get up like this, right? And this is where here, and I can only go down like this. But if I can cross midline, right? If I can cross midline, all of those kind of movements can happen. And so, really want to work on spine, chest rotation, get that midline crossing, and then we can work on synchronizing the head with all of those kind of movements. But that's where you need to go first. What a Lakshmi. Same thing. You'll see the exact same thing. The reason rolling over was so hard for her, right, is so you get more of here, you get a wider roll. Notice here, pubic bone, I keep my vision on the prize, right? But when I'm like this, right, so I'm looking over here, and then I go over like this. See where my eyes don't match up with my action. And so then something like this is great, because I forget about you. You know what I mean? And you see that. And so, and again, this is where you see, again, heavy head, spine not crossing midline. I might be moving past midline here, right? But I'm not crossing midline. See the difference where I can cross midline and go into those kind of movements, right? So same thing with the spine rotation. And now for Crystal. We have a little baby now, right? Now, my first comment was, don't put the child in tummy time. Babies don't have preferences. It's not that they don't like tummy time. What babies don't like is not breathing or swallowing, right? So when a child, and I can tell you right now, probably wrapped a lot because again, startled, and all of these kind of movements of not getting the horizon right. So a bit fussier of a baby. My vision, what brings me into rolling over. My head, pubic bone, tailbone, all aligned. I have balance in between, and this is what rolling over is. I get it that we're supposed to put our kids in tummy time. But what's happening right now, since none of those things are kicking in, she's getting like this. I can't breathe and I can't swallow. They will choose breathing first. They pull like this, and then they start crying. They literally feel like they're drowning, and they're just screaming to get up. And that's what they're trying to do. It's not that they don't like tummy time. It's they like breathing more. We really need to see what's going on. I need another video, but you want to do your newborn movement assessment. It's a great course. It's a free course. The free baby videos that go with it. We need to see where she's breaking down on her milestones without the rotation and crossing midline to help her, because she's really going to get so stressed out. And yes, it's a movement problem, which will become a physical problem. And last but not least, we have Lauren. So, again, I understand where people want tummy time. We have to look at the last successful transitional skill, right? And I think even lying down was a problem. So I know what we're trying to do, we encourage, but when we're encouraging babies, the tendencies, and this is where I started doing more and more of my videos, the tendency is to do exterior actions, right? So one of the things is where I said, don't hold the object so far back. When I'm doing vision, the object is about here, just as I'm going to reach to get it, and I'm over, ooh, I'm on my tummy. When you put an object back like this, now you're getting a back archer. There is no, now look at where my head is as far as in relationship. I'm totally out of alignment, right? You can watch my video on rolling over, you can see all the signs happening up. So what it is I'm stressing to such a point, and I'll throw something out there, and people think, oh, that's rolling over. It's not rolling over. Rolling over, again, that vision has to be on tact, and the head's synchronized. So that's what's going on. Too, that I noticed the eye is out of alignment. If I go to roll over again, I'm here, and I'm here. My eye is in. This is where you'll start to see the head more down and trying to come up. On tummy time, you need that pubic bone strike going into that weight transfer. And those are the skills too now that you're looking for. If you just tuck a child under like this, right, I can't respond to stimuli. I can't get that ball. We do not need to teach his brain that he can't do something, and that's what we're looking at. So again, I know he's not a newborn, but really go back to the newborn assessment, see where the rotations are broken down, and just those free baby videos as well right behind it. And I can relink them in. For those of you watching, do I have questions?
No.
Okay.
Just
Good? Okay. For those of you watching, and you might see the similarities in your child, right? Again, movement lessons about better movement. We all want to move better, right? So please, present your video. That's the best way to get the most out of movement lesson. I know you might be shy, so do a Skype, or you want your privacy. That's no problem. Or Zoom. We do clinic visits, but the world's kind of shut down at the moment. But that doesn't mean we can't keep helping our children, and we really need to encourage that. Please, I can't stress enough about the breathing one. Even though you feel like your child's breathing is fine, it's a great little course to do, gets you familiar with movement lesson. It's quite easy. A couple of you comment on one video. I reshot it so there's a better view of the hand. But really too, there's going to be a lot of stressed people out there on this. Please share the video. It was done for free, not to promote movement lesson, but to help kids out, help adults out. We have an adult breathing one, kids breathing one, and then the Spanish will be out by the end of this week. Please, really, we're here to help people. All this was just done for free. If you need the help, ask for it. Ask questions, make the comments. I'm there usually within 24 hours. Training starts on this Sunday. Might be late notice for some of you, but we are going into segment 1 training. We're doing it online. Again, I was about to have a class to start, and we are going for it. It'll be live for the week. It's in a private Facebook group. And then we will be having it up for sometime after for parents to study it, review it, and learn it. Professionals as well are joining us. And so that's what's going on with Movement Lesson. If you need more information, love to hear from you. Let us know. Thank you, guys.